So, today we're going to be addressing preacher Matt Powell, who's got something to say about Chris Tyson from the MrBeast YouTube channel coming out as trans. But let's not be fooled by his words. We all know what Christian love looks like. We're also going to look at the misconceptions surrounding Chris coming out as trans and how Matt Powell is trying to stir up trouble by spreading his usual brand of venomous hate. So join me as we set the record straight and hear from a trans friend of mine who explains what gender dysphoria really feels like. So sit back, grab some popcorn, because things are about to get interesting. Just quickly, before we get into today's video and I completely lose my I wanted to give a quick shout out to these people who all hit the super thanks button on the last video. And one of them has issued me with a challenge. So thank you to Piotrek Olczek, Galactic Vagabond, and finally, the person who issued the challenge, Yanni Vovkanen.
You're all awesome.
I'll be on the lookout for your comment on this video, pal. Please subscribe.
Recently, his right-hand man, Chris Tyson, came out as transgender. Now, most people are condemning Chris's behavior, but some people are accepting it and even promoting it.
What? No way, Matt. That has truly shocked me. That some people's opinions vary. Now, I myself can't see what the hell it's got to do with anyone who isn't Chris Tyson or his immediate family. And when you say people are promoting the fact that Chris is in the process of coming out as trans, what exactly do you mean?
And that includes MrBeast himself. He is promoting this, and he said on Twitter that all of this transphobia is starting to really piss me off.
Well, that's a strange way of promoting something. Maybe I should run an ad on Twitter saying that every YouTube channel that is bigger than mine is starting to piss me off. On what planet is that promoting Chris being trans? What that says to me is that MrBeast has already had enough of people giving his closest friend a hard time.
Chris Tyson claims that he actually did this for his son.
Right, now this is the tweet Matt is going to show you, and whilst it does say at the end, in a way this is for Tucker, Chris's son, it most certainly does not say that Chris has come out as trans for his son. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know what's going on in his head, but what I will say, and this is based on my own experience, is that what he probably means is that he wants to be able to show his son that sometimes, regardless of how hard things are, they can still be the right thing to do for certain people.
And he also went on to post a picture of his 2-year-old son in high heels.
So, did you never play dress up as a kid, Matt? Oops, sorry, let me just rephrase that, because you're still a kid now, aren't you? Or at least you act like one. Don't you play dress up, Matt? Now, Chris Tyson's son is 2 years old, and I think I already know where this is going. You know, what with Matt being a good old Christian boy and all. Actually, that's not fair to Christianity. I know that not everyone is a narrow-minded bigot.
With a caption that said, "Tucker chose to slay this morning." Now, this is just more proof that the transgender folks that can't figure out what gender they are, they're so delusional that they're not safe around kids.
And it's gone exactly where I thought it was gonna go. What the hell about a person being trans makes them not safe around kids? I really don't get this way of thinking. Now, I know we are all individuals and we are all free to think and feel whatever we like. But me, I don't care if somebody's black, white, Asian, gay, straight, trans, or anything else. You're either a good person or you're not. And Matt Powell official here is clearly the latter. And it baffles me that there are even people like him being allowed to spread this kind of venomous hate on YouTube.
What could motivate this? What even? How does one go from this, having a beautiful family, and just throwing it all away for this?
Oh, I don't know, maybe gender dysphoria? Now, gender dysphoria is a condition in which a person experiences... Now, hang on a second. Now, I could carry on and try to explain to you what gender dysphoria is, but all I would be doing is explaining what I've read on the topic, which anyone can do. So I thought I would ask a good friend of mine, Danielle Hallett, to explain to you. And luckily for you lot, Danielle doesn't have an accent either. So Danielle, over to you. What is gender dysphoria and how exactly did it make you feel?
All my life is my earliest memory is of being transgender, literally as soon as I was, this is a nursery type thing, and as soon as I was aware that there were girls and boys, I was like, hang on a minute, something's not right here. And I couldn't even rationalize those thoughts. I was too young, but that's how strong that feeling was right from the start of my life. Being transgender robbed me of my childhood. It basically, I lost the first 25, 30 years of my life because I wasn't being who I actually was. I was pretending to be blokey bloke, playing rugby, doing all that sort of stuff, and it just wasn't me. It was constantly screaming inside. If you say you're thinking of the children, you need to consider what hell life is if you've got gender dysphoria and you aren't able to be yourself. It's a waking hell. It's a living hell. It's the first thing you think of when you wake up and the last thing that's on your mind when you go to bed. It's, you know, when you've been in a relationship and you split up and you're consumed by it for a day or two. Imagine that permanently. That's what gender dysphoria is like. It's all you can think about.
Now, that clip was taken from an interview Danielle did with another friend of mine, Danielle BATA'Ls. And if you do want to watch the full interview, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. But my point is that someone like Matt Powell would never even dream of actually talking to a trans person, you know, to find out what being trans is actually like. Because based on what Danielle said in her interview with Danielle, it doesn't seem like a fun thing, in spite of the way the professionally offended are framing this whole situation.
To take away the opportunity of your spouse who thought that she married a man and pump yourself full of estrogen, make yourself look sickly and disgusting.
Really, Matt? You're gonna go there? Well, given the choice between looking sickly and disgusting, which, by the way, I really don't think Chris does, and making yourself sound like an angry, closeted bigot, I know which one I would choose. Now, for someone who claims to be a loving Christian, you really do seem to scandal monger about an awful lot of people. It's almost as if you don't want anyone who thinks differently to you to be happy. And you know what you said earlier on about Chris saying that in a way this is for his son? Well, you just said it yourself. Chris just wants to be happy.
And tell your child that you're being your happiest self. Tell the world you're being your happiest self. All the while rejecting your actual self is so selfish that I can't even come up with words to describe how I personally feel about it. The only word that really comes to my mind is grotesque. It's reprehensible that you would do that to a woman.
And isn't it grotesque and reprehensible that you would publish a video on a public website like YouTube saying that another human being is those things? But I suppose being grotesque and reprehensible yourself and you just projecting your own feelings onto trans people is par for the course. And yeah, I know exactly what I did there. Methinks little Matty boy doth protesteth too much. What are you hiding about yourself, Matt, that you always feel the need to call out people who are trans, gay, or anything that you claim you're not?
It's reprehensible that any man would say that he is a woman, dress like a woman, and insult the entire group of women that live in this planet.
Now then, ladies that watch me, and I know there aren't a huge number of you, it's turned into a proper schlong fest around here. But what do you think about what Matt just said? Is there any merit to it? Are trans men and women offensive to you? Matt, have you ever sat down and had a conversation with a trans person? Doesn't seem like it to me, and I don't want to shock anyone, but trans people, well, they're just people.
Jimmy, they drew you so well. It looks just like you.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God, it's Jimmy.
How did fan art? This is what we were looking for. Be brave, be honest, be kind, Mr. Beast. That is my tagline.
But of course he says that he's going to be his happiest self for his son.
Look, I've got to be honest, I'm not really sure what you think you've gained by showing that clip. Was it a little bit awkward? Maybe. But if Mr. Beast was feeling awkward, then isn't that an issue that he needs to work on?
But he's going to castrate himself and no longer be a father figure.
Right, stop. Right now. Who said Chris is gonna castrate himself, Matt? You do realize that there are many layers to being trans, don't you? And not every trans person will go ahead and get gender reassignment surgery. What a dick. Maybe where Chris is now is where he'll stay. People come in all different shapes and sizes. You do understand that, don't you? Just look at whatever was going on between you and Kent Hovind. Talk about a bromance. If you weren't a pair of hateful scumbags, it would be almost cute to watch. Yes, Dr. Hovend. No, Dr. Hovend. 3 bags full, Dr. Hovend.
Look, every child needs a dad. They don't need 2 moms.
But what about all the kids that do have 2 mothers, or 2 fathers for that matter? Now, I don't want to upset or freak you out, Matt, but you do know that same-sex marriage is a thing, don't you? And for a child to get on in life, they just need 2 happy parents. And if that happiness looks like this, or even this, then that's fine. How exactly does it affect you anyway?
They don't need 2 dads. They need a mom and a dad to create a balance in the home.
So what about all the children in the world who are completely miserable because their mother and father don't get on and constantly fight? Actually, a little bit of homework for you, Mr. Powell. Ask Eric Hovind what it was like. I'm sure he's got some insight he can impart.
Somebody tweeted and said that there's a father figure that the kid won't ever be able to look up to.
Well, I don't know who that is, but based on what you've just read out, then he's an intolerant ass clown as well, isn't he? Why wouldn't Chris Tyson's son be able to look up to him?
You've stripped away your fatherhood to try to replace the child's mother. I mean, how selfish. How disgusting.
How do you know? Are you seriously going to sit there and say that the reason Chris has come out about his transition is because he wants to replace his wife as Tucker's mother? My word, for someone who considers himself to be smart, you really do say some stupid things. I've never heard anyone make that claim before. Probably because most people would realize how completely insane it sounds. Not old Matty boy here, though.
See, this decision to become trans not only affects you, it affects your wife, it affects your child. How is the child gonna feel every day when he has to wake up to 2 moms?
Well, I don't know, Matt, and more importantly, neither do you. Kids are resilient and they can be pretty strong in some cases, and that's based on the fact that you've got kids. So, yeah, having a hate preacher as a father can't be much fun for them, can it? What are you gonna do if they turn out to be gay or trans themselves? Or, heaven forbid, atheists?
If somebody in my family decided to castrate themselves, leave their spouse, become a second mother to the child that they have, and, play this game of charades and pump themselves full of estrogen, I would immediately condemn it, because that's what a true friend would do.
Oh, I'm sure you would, Matt. And with friends like you, who the hell needs enemies? That isn't always what trans is, you ignorant moron. Have you ever considered that playing a game of charades is how the person felt before they transitioned? Because listening to what my friend Danielle said earlier on in this video,
Being transgender robbed me of my childhood. It basically, I lost the first 25, 30 years of my life.
that's what the case would seem to be.
I would immediately stand up and say, no, that's not a good idea, don't do that. But for Mr. Beast to get up and say, I support this, I condone this is normal. What kind of a friend are you if you're gonna say something like that?
A supportive one, a good one, or an understanding one?
That's not friendship. That's what we call hate. And lies are built on hate. Truth is built on love. If you were honest with him, if you told him that he's not something that he claims to be, which is a woman.
What? Now, Matt, I don't want to tell you how to make videos, but you should really do some research on the topics you talk about, especially topics as important as this one. All he's done so far is let people know that he's currently having HRT therapy. Now, I know that facts don't really matter that much to you, Matt, or you wouldn't be a creationist, would you? But come on, play the game, is it?
Chris also, in response to the criticism that he received, sent out some pretty nasty tweets about the Bible. He said that the Bible is a fairy tale, it's a fake book, and that Christianity is blankety blank.
And there it is. The reason Matt Powell official has decided to throw his hat in the ring on this particular topic. Oh, poor baby. Did Chris Tyson say something mean about the Bible? And Matt, without pointing fingers, people like you are part of the reason why so many people have a problem with the Bible and everything written in it.
But then he also went on to say something much more serious.
Just quickly before Matty Boy carries on, is it as serious as that time you said in a video that all gay people should be executed?
Chris Tyson is a creeper. Why do you think it is that he was strapping high heels onto his 2-year-old son? It's because he's a predator, that's why.
Now look, I pride myself on not letting the people I make videos about make me angry. But Matt, you're skating on thin ice, pal. So similar to your thoughts on gay men and women, because they aren't exactly the same as you, then there's something predatory about them. So is it predatory when you and others like you lie to everyone around you and try to recruit them into creationism? Now, thankfully, most people aren't stupid enough to fall for it, but I am sure that many of the people you and Kent surround yourself with could be considered to be the same. Or, and this is just me trying to see at least a tiny glimmer of hope for you, Matt, is it the fact that Kent is openly protecting a predator at Dinosaur Adventureland that was one of the things that caused you to leave?
That is why certain people become trans. It's not just because of a mental disorder. That can be part of it, but many times I believe that it's from rejecting the Lord Jesus Christ.
Okay, so why aren't most atheists trans then? You clown. Do you know something, Matt? You are nothing more than a scared little boy who has no capacity for independent thinking and not a clue how to deal with anyone who isn't exactly like you. Now, sadly, we do live in a world where people seem to be going out of their way to get offended by things, and things that really have got nothing at all to do with them or how they live their daily lives. You can say whatever you want about Chris Tyson, or me for that matter, but it will never change the fact that you are nothing more than a hate preacher, and not a very good one at that. You've been led down a very dark and hateful path by Kent Hovind, and if you weren't such a twat, I would feel sorry for you. But I don't. The only people I feel sorry for are the people around you. Yeah, that was a rough one, wasn't it? Sorry, guys, but sometimes things just need to be said. Thanks for watching, everybody. Love you, bye. But not you, Matt. You can f*** off.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe. By order of the Creaky Blinder.